Hi, everybody. This is Tom with Culture Chap. So today I want to talk to you about another play, a French farce, originally called Boeing Boeing. Written in 1960 by Mark Camilletti. It was translated into English and became a film in 1965. And it is the story of a man with three fiancées, and they're all air hostesses, called at the time, stewardesses, cabin crew, whatever the name is that you want to use. Because of inclement weather at the airport, they're all grounded, and his normal rotation of every 3 days has been messed up, and they're all converging on his apartment. So there's six characters, there's six actors. There's the lead, Bernard, his friend Robert, the three air hostesses, and the maid, who keeps changing the picture, which is hilarious. And a lot of people have done it. A lot of people have done it badly. If you can do it well, if you can handle that kind of comedy. And what I mean is hijinks, the very much like Noises Off, a door slamming, pratfall, falling over the furniture, running around kind of farce, then this would be for you. Now, if it's been done in your area, I understand. If it's been done to death around your state or country or county, I understand. I am proposing that you do it slightly differently. So, part of the fun is the style of the set, 1960s. So, what does that mean for you? What do you have in stock? It takes place in Paris, but doesn't have to, okay? It can take place kind of anywhere. The ideas that came into my brain were having it take place in New Orleans during, not Carnival, during Mardi Gras, having it take place in Rio de Janeiro during Carnival. You could have it take place in Venice during Carnival. You could do any kind of thing. You could have it take place in any city during Halloween. Okay? So, what I am proposing is that you add a little layer onto this in case you think it's been done to death and not well. And the layers are more costuming. Okay? If you do it in Rio de Janeiro during Carnival, you can have the air hostesses. I'm going to use that word. Come out in different outfits, preparing to go down to the festivities, the samba, and so forth. And that is hilarious in itself. If it's in New Orleans, the same kind of thing. What are they wearing for Mardi Gras? Do you see where I'm going for this? And coming out in costumes that don't quite fit, I don't mean too small, I mean too big. That's easier on your budget and on your costumer. Now, I know a lot of costumer people, costume designers, they get very upset when you say, I want something ill-fitting that's too big. I'm like, I can't. Yes, you can. This is comedy. Just embrace it. The idea of someone coming out in a headdress that is too big for their head and it keeps falling down while you're trying to get that person back inside the door, because it's a lot of door slamming. Air hostess A comes out with air hostess B, goes in, slam, slam, slam. Which room are they in? It's that kind of thing. I want to further say that I think it's time that instead of a bunch of women that are being duped because they think they're all his fiance, why don't you switch the sexes? Okay? Why not the person, the lead, the one who plays Bernard, be Bernadine or something else, and Roberta, and it's two women. Yeah, what would that be like? And all the men are the air hosts, the cabin crew. They're all, stewards. What would that be like? Wouldn't that be interesting? Now, I know that you think well, in the 60s, women had less power, blah, blah, blah. Or I don't believe that a woman would dupe three men like this. Because basically it's I'm engaged to you all and I can't decide. And we're having relations with each of you. That's what this really is. Why can't you switch it up? Why do we have these prudish ideas, especially in the United States, of what women are? Okay? There's really nothing in the script that says this lead character is anything in his life. He's dishonest with these people, with these women, or she's dishonest with these three men. Other than that, this person leads a decent life. So there's nothing saying that person is a degenerate, or any of the other words I don't want to say here. Why can't a woman be in this position? In the 1960s, the pill was available and it changed everything globally for women. Women could now have, free love and so forth. They're more protected. This changed a lot of things. And part of this play is that they don't mention the pill, but part of this play is that at the same time, air travel became far more frequent. Wonderful. So if you can't afford a mid-century set, okay. If you want to place it in another era, don't go too far from the 60s, okay? Don't put it in modern day because then you suddenly have cell phones and this and that's not what's happening. That'll make it too complex. And you might think, oh, well, I just won't mention cell phones. Well, no. They are cabin crew. Part of the joke is that they're being grounded because of the weather. Now, I know you think, the weather, and you're saying have a parade outside, be Carnival, be Mardi Gras. Well, I come from a city, San Francisco, where it can be great in the city, the weather, but at the airport, it's fogged in so badly that no one can lift off. So why isn't there just inclement weather at the airport? And that's the problem. You could even add that the Mardi Gras or the Carnival is happening outside the window. That also supports the costume idea of, I've just been grounded, I've got time on my hands, I'm gonna go out into the party, Every time you open the windows to the outside, there's, bump-a-bump, bump-a-bump, there's kind of like fun music. So there would be reasons for costume changes, and I'm only putting in costume changes like this to up the hilarity. It's already funny enough to have them, one coming in the door, one going out the door, and barely missing each other, and you flipping over the sofa and so forth. What if they're in these insane not insane, but what if they're in these costumes that aren't regular clothes? Carnival in Rio has incredible costumes. So does Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Incredible costumes. And you can kind of do anything you want. Okay? It's just, that's the way it is. So you can add in things like that. So what another poor actor, the actors that are doing the three stewards or stewardesses will kill me. But if you have somebody good-natured that knows comedy, that realizes that coming out in another cuckoo costume that you weren't expecting just adds to the humor in an already very humorous play, it really lifts it. Now that is an idea in case you think it's been oversaturated in your area. This would be different. I don't see it done that frequently anymore, but I'm not, it's hard to do a global search on whether this play is being done over and over again in certain areas. It just doesn't come up with stuff. And often it doesn't mention the year, so I don't know. Maybe someone in your area did it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, so yours is different. Yours is a twist. Not really a twist. Women should have the same opportunities as men to play these leading roles and not just be the sex object. Why have the men the sex object that are being duped? Why are two female leads getting to do pratfalls and flipping over the furniture? That's good. We hardly ever see that. And they can do it. We're just relegating them to these roles because we've decided we're going to believe in period comedies or dramas only in the way we've seen before. And it really wouldn't take much to flip these roles. Now, I want to mention The Housekeeper, and part of their joke is the eye rolling and all the other stuff, and the constantly changing the pictures on the sofa console or wherever the picture happens to be. That's part of the joke. They're a little world weary, so what if you had a butler? That would be good. That'd be really good. I think there is a balance between whoever the sex of the stewardesses and the sex of the maid being female, that there's 4 people of the same sex on stage. And that person, the maid, the butler, whoever, realizes what a predicament these women are in, or these men, and has an idea about it, okay? There might be a lot of comments about why this wouldn't work flipped with the sexes, but it works tremendously when people have been proposed to and now they've been duped. That's pretty awful. And frustrating situations are funny, okay? So just think about it. Read the script. I'm going to put a link to the film. I'm going to put a link to other reviews about it in the description. And hopefully I can find the script, which I haven't found yet, but it is readily available. All right, Boeing Boeing by Mark Camilletti. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So, and I think it works in every country. It really does. It doesn't have to be happening place in your city. I think the farther away it is, the better. If you're in Ireland and it takes place in Rio, good, interesting. Not the kind of costumes we see every day walking down the street. But if you're in Ireland and it's costumey parade that is something expected, it's less funny. Do you see what I mean? If you're in New Orleans doing it not at Mardi Gras, because you're kind of already familiar with the things that happen at Mardi Gras, so you're in New Orleans, you're performing this in New Orleans, but you said it in Carnival in Rio. Interesting, interesting. Or you just go back to the original and set it in Paris. Interesting. It's not the normal place that you're all used to. That way the comedy is better. The stuff that's happening is more unexpected. The visual is more unexpected. All right, that's enough for today. Boeing Boeing. Have a look at it. Please subscribe, and we'll talk again. Bye.